Is the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network.
Jackson swings, hits it in the air, deep to right field. He has done it again. Unbelievable.
Coming up, we'll have a recap of the previous Padres game, a preview of today's starting pitching matchup, our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Mike Shildt.
Ultimately, what we're here to do is win.
From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Today, the Padres take on the Toronto Blue Jays in the second game of a three-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today on the mound for the Blue Jays, right-hander Kevin Gausman, and for the Padres, right-hander Randy Vasquez. Hi, good everyone. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. First pitch coming up at 4:07 p.m. here in California. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, we'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. We'll also check in with Gwyn Jr. at Rogers Center in just a little bit. Our keys to the game, a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, and a full breakdown of our starting pitching matchup. But first, it's time to set the table. Brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa, Vista, and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. Padres enter today 27-19. Padres in the midst of a rough stretch right now. They've lost 4 in a row, and they're now just 2-6 in their last 8 games. But the amazing thing, they've actually out-hit their opponents in this 4-game skid. Padres have not lost 5 in a row since last July. They entered today a game and a half behind the LA Dodgers for first place in the National League West. Padres actually now in third place, a half game behind the second place San Francisco Giants entering today. Meanwhile, the Blue Jays come in 23-24. They are 5 games out of first place in the American League East. And the Padres were hoping to get the bats going on the road last night. Before we focus on today's game, let's rewind.
Did you miss what happened in the last Padres game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind on the Padres Radio Network.
Our starting pitching matchup last night, Chris Bassitt on the mound for the Jays, Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres. Bassitt allowed a 1-out double to Luis Arraez in the top of the first inning, but he then struck out Manny Machado and Jackson Merrill to get out of the inning. In the bottom half of the first inning, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. dug in against Dylan Cease.
0-1, swung on, driven to left field and deep. Going back for it is Hayward. He's at the wall. He looks up. It's gone. Into the Toronto Blue Jays bullpen. 1-0 Jays.
From that point on, Cease was great. He retired the next 11 in a row through the end of the 4th inning, but the problem, the Padres just weren't scoring against Chris Bassitt. They had at least 1 base runner on in 4 out of the first 5 innings. Padres still trailed 1-0. Going bottom 5, Cease walked Alejandro Kirk on a close 3-2 pitch. That set things up for Anthony Santander.
Runs. First pitch swinging, fly ball to Fernando. He looks up. This one is gone. A line drive shot by Santander. And all of a sudden, the Jays have a 3-0 lead.
Chris Bassitt would give up just 4 hits in 6 scoreless innings. Dylan Cease was really good. 7 innings, 3 runs, 3 hits, 6 strikeouts. He did give up the 2 home runs, and that was the story yesterday. Padres losing 3-0. Padres did out-hit the Blue Jays 5-3, but again, runners in scoring position, a big issue. They went 0 for 3 with RISP, and we'll talk more about those issues with runners in scoring position coming up in just a little while. As always, if you want to get involved on our pregame coverage, you can do that in a number of different ways. You can find me on X at Sammy Lev, SammyLev. Instagram DMs open as well. Sammy Lev there too. You can also comment on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube stream. Hello to everybody watching on YouTube on this Wednesday afternoon. And for you TikTokers out there, I know you're out there, the TikTokers, you can find me at Sammy Levitt, SammyLevitt. Let me know, what is your key to today's game? How do the Padres snap this 4-game losing skid? And if you just want to say hi, may just give you a shout out here on the air. Padres trying to snap this 4-game skid. We'll see if they can do that with right-hander Randy Vasquez on the mound in Toronto. Speaking of Toronto, let's go north of the border to Canada.
let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Gwyn Jr. in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
All right, Tony, let's start with a look at the offense. Obviously, it's been a rough 4 days for the offense. Only 3 runs combined. Padres get shut out yesterday. Tony, is this just the ebb and flow of a season, a team going into a slump? The best offensive units do that, as we know, or to you, is this anything more than just that?
I think it's hard to say, honestly. It's a 4-game stretch. I would love to just sit here and tell you, it's part of the ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
But I don't think we know yet. I think it is, considering where we are at in the season and considering what we've seen this offense already do. But it's been 4 games. You chalk up the first couple. Okay, the Mariners are throwing the ball well. Talking to folks around here today, that's the best Bassett's look. But nonetheless, there still are some of the things that we've grown accustomed to seeing from this offense that we just aren't, right? I mean, some of the long ABs, those have been kind of cut down a little bit. And so when you start missing elements that aren't necessarily predicated on results and you're missing those same elements on the offense, you start to kind of have your antennas up. And so I think we'll kind of find out a little bit more today if this is something that they can pull themselves out of.
Tony, let's talk a little bit about Jackson Merrill. Last 5 games, 2 for 23. Did have a base hit yesterday. And the reason I bring him up is because we talked on Sunday, and he had been in a mini skid at that point, and we discussed it, and you were hesitant to really dive into what was going on with Jackson Merrill. And I was with you because he's earned that right with the way he's played in his year plus in the major leagues and the way he's not allowed a mini skid to become a slump. Now that you've seen a couple more games, is there any insight into Jackson, anything he's doing differently right now than what's given him success?
So here's the thing, Sam. I wasn't reluctant. I was partly reluctant because, yes, it wasn't, that much time. But I was also reluctant because some of the things that I'm seeing, I saw also when he was having almost a Rookie of the Year campaign.
Sure.
Like, he's not seeing a lot of pitches. That's okay. That's kind of what Jackson's MO is. He's, as I think maybe here in the last 35 at bats, may have expanded the zone a little bit more, but he does that when he's going well too.
Right.
How many times have we seen Jackson come up in 1 at bat and maybe swing at 3 pitches that aren't in the zone, punch out, and then the next 3 at bats hit bullets all over the field? And so I'm still reluctant because a lot of the things that I'm seeing now, I saw when he was swinging the bat good and all through last year. But I will say that the amount of pitches he's seeing, which is very few, that he's not swinging at, and I guess the expansion of his own strike zone, I think are the things that I'm paying closest attention to. And maybe one leads to the other, right?
Yeah.
You're not seeing as many pitches and you're putting them in play because maybe you are swinging more at pitches that are outside the zone. But those are the 2 things that I've been paying attention to here as of late.
Yeah, good insight, Tony. And we'll see if Jackson can get it going here today along with the rest of this lineup. Let's talk about somebody who's really been a good story for the Padres, I think, so far this season, and especially as of late. And that's today's starting pitcher, Randy Vasquez. You look at the overall numbers, and Tony, he's got a 3.45 ERA in 9 starts. We know he deals with a ton of base runners, but notably in these last couple of starts, both quality outings of 6 innings, he's only walked 1 batter in each of his last 2 starts. To you with Randy, is the success just being more in command, or is there more to it even beyond that?
I think it is being more in command.
Okay.
And you start to break down his starts. I mean, prior to the last 3, which he went 6, 6, and 5, he went 4 2/3, 77 pitches, 2 innings, 68 pitches. 5 innings, 80 pitches. And so it becomes a thing about the walks. And prior to the last 2 starts, he hadn't had a start in which he walked less than 2, right? So I think there's a big difference when he's able to be in the strike zone and create the weak contact that he does and not hand out free passes. I think we've kind of seen what Randy can do. And so today he'll be tasked with, once again, trying to limit the walks or the free passes or the opportunities that the Blue Jays have. But let's be honest. This game probably isn't going to fall on Vasquez's shoulders. It's going to fall on this offense trying to find a way to score some runs.
Yeah, I'm with you. I thought yesterday Dylan Cease was great. 7 innings, 3 runs given up. You can't expect your pitching to be absolutely perfect. And when you don't score any runs, it's awfully hard to win a baseball game. On the other side of this pitching matchup, Kevin Gausman on the mound for Toronto. Padres have a number of big guys in their lineup today that have seen Gausman a lot, have really good numbers against them. So I'm curious, Tony, is as a hitter in the major leagues, do you know that going into a game? I would assume many do. You do? That's something you know going in?
Absolutely. If you got good numbers or if you got really bad numbers, you 1,000% know before his start even comes up. When they knew they were coming to Toronto, the guys who had good numbers 100% knew Gausman was in the rotation and would be facing him. And they got a lot of looks at him when he was a Giant. And so I think early when Gausman was in his heyday, he gave the Padres a lot of problems. But I think the more these guys saw of him, the better their game plans got. They started to see more success against him. And so maybe he's just what the doctor ordered for this offense today. He certainly has had good starts where he's got the split going and his fastball command is good. But if his fastball command is bad, you start to see hitters spit on the split and just hunt the heater, and that's when he gets himself into trouble.
All right, good stuff, Tony. We'll talk to you and Bob Scanlon coming up exactly at 3:57 p.m. here in San Diego. As always, thanks so much.
No problem, Sam. Take care.
All right, Tony Gwyn Jr. joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. Again, first pitch coming up precisely at 4:07 p.m. We go up to Toronto, Canada, Toronto, Ontario in Canada, to be exact, at 3:57 p.m. Scan and Tony will have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play beginning at 4:07 as the Padres play the middle game of this 3-game series against the Blue Jays. Padres trying to snap a 4-game skid. When we come back, we hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt, plus we tell you who's hot, who's not. We have headlines from around the major leagues, much, much more to do as we walk you up towards first pitch between the Padres and the Blue Jays on a beautiful Wednesday here in America's finest city. This is the Padres Radio Network.
Stay tuned to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. EcoWater SoCal.
EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we get ready for the middle game of this 3-game series between the Padres and the Toronto Blue Jays. Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres here today. Kevin Gossman on the mound for Toronto. Padres lineup looks like this. Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field leading off. Luis Arraez at first base batting second. Manny Machado at third base batting third. Jackson Merrill in center batting cleanup. Xander Bogaerts at shortstop batting fifth. Gavin Sheets, the DH, batting sixth. Jake Cronenworth in the seventh spot playing second base. Jason Hayward in left field batting eighth. And Martin Maldonado doing the catching and batting ninth. With all that in mind, let's hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt before today's game.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Served up by Sin Lee Food, where fresh meets flavor. Find farm fresh produce, bold Asian spices, and gourmet ingredients at 4665 El Cajon Boulevard. Sin Lee Food, the cook's Asian resource.
I think I know kind of the direction that you'll go with this, but you speak about the confidence you have in your lineup, you know, the guys that have produced, and that the last few games haven't, but you keep going with those guys, and that's who you believe in.
I mean, I actually get the privilege to look out the scoreboard now, and it's like, wow, look at that lineup. That's a heck of a good lineup. Why would I not want to run it out there? So I can understand the question. I understand people's rightful, looking at it and questioning of it, perhaps. I don't know. But I'm looking out there at All-Stars and World Series champions and maybe future Hall of Famers and All-Stars this year and guys that have helped us contribute to a lot of success, short-term and longer-term, and I feel great about it.
Tatis in the leadoff spot, I'm just wondering, is it more important that the bottom of the order gets on base for him, or no, that's just independent, that's where you like him in the spot? I wonder how much both of those play into.
Yeah, that's a great question, because the thing about Toddy, we have a fair amount of guys like that can hit anywhere in the lineup, which makes it a good lineup, which what we have. Toddy is unique for a lot of reasons. Just his skill set's just, top of the league. But you look at it and you rightfully you go, okay, can he hit leadoff? Clearly, he can do that. Is it important that the bottom of the lineup helps flip the lineup? I think that's important, whether Toddy's leading off or, Louis leading off or whoever. But I also know that he's a disruptor to start the game. He's also, as I've done this a while now, you start to think about like turning the lineup over. Who do you want to turn the lineup over to? Toddy feels good. And either way, that's dumb. And if he's leading off, that means he's got a chance to hit more than anybody else in the game. So that feels pretty good too. But yeah, would there be value in hitting second? Sure. Some of your best hitters, the philosophy is they hit second. Well, we have a 3-10 batting tip with hitting second. So what's your criteria of best hitter? That's probably part of it. And then you kind of take it from there. But Toddy could hit 1 through 5, and have a rationale and feel great about all of it. But I think hitting first is a good spot for him, and he enjoys it. So that's part of the equation too.
Hey, Randy did his job last year, came up 3 different times, and the team won about half the starts. It feels like there's a leap this year, like a good pitcher. And I just wonder, what's that leap for you that you've seen in Randy?
I think, like anything, and, glove and skin and mud can attribute to this. There's a learning curve to play. There's a learning curve to being a big league player. There's a process of what that looks like. Randy took advantage of the experiences he got last year. He was better as he went. He was better every time he came back up. And then this year, had a full off season. I know what that looks like. I know what the preparation looks like. I know what my off seasons look like. I know what. And then coupled with the other starters as a subgroup, it's a big part of our subgroup of our team, the starter unity group, and that. I know Darvish is poured into him, and Michael and Darvish are Musgrove and Cease, and kind of like now Nick, like we share experiences and what's it look like, what's the routine look like, how do you deal with this, how do you handle that. Now we've got catchers like we had last year, and this group's doing a good job with Maldy, like talking to him about what he's going to see and how he's going to use his pitches and how he's going to sit up ahead or what he's going to use now versus next time around. So all that just continues to build up into being a better version of Randy, but all the credit goes to Randy.
What is it that's allowed him to sort of limit the loss a little bit because of his mistakes?
I think, again, leading back to, and I won't speak for him, I'm going to give a general answer, but it is, I think, specific to Randy is, confidence in your stuff plays, right? I mean, one thing you do regardless of role when you first get to the big leagues, and people have a quicker learning curve to it, but players like, where do I stack up to this level? And once you realize, hey, I stack up, my stuff can play. I've got to use now. I can't just throw it here, but it does play here and here and here with my pitches. Whew. But if you're not sure about that, there's a little bit of moment of truth, like, let's try over here a little bit. And when the hitters tell you, we don't play over there, it makes you adapt. And so I think he's realized he's been able to get strikes in the zone, and once he's able to get outs in the zone. Once you realize that now allows you to be able to be more comfortable and confident to go do it, which is why he's also pitched really well out of traffic.
From your point of view, what makes Gausman effective?
Similar to Bassett, different repertoire. Both guys with dirt in their spikes and have done it, and they just have an understanding of what they're doing. With Gauss, he's going to be able to throw his heater, and he's going to be able to have another gear when he needs it. He's going to be able to throw the split. He's going to be able to recognize, where he can get a chase and where he needs to get for a strike. And he's got the pitches and the mindset and the ability to understand how to navigate through a lineup multiple times.
Without giving state secrets, when your hitters are successful against a guy like Gausman, what are they doing right?
I think, I'm going to generalize this. I won't get specific about guys, but
sure.
But I don't think, we do have our hitters meetings, and in general, the what comes out of a hitters meeting is what Ted Williams said 100 years ago. Let's try to get a good pitch to hit, and let's swing at it and put a good swing on it. And then what are you going to do? And, more recently been asked rightfully about, and it's a two-way street. Like, you make your own luck, and that's part of it too. Like, nobody's going to feel sorry for us. We got to figure it out. We got to be patient enough. What's patience? Could be the first pitch patience, but we got to get a good pitch, not the perfect pitch. Guys aren't going to give you a lot of stuff in the middle of the plate. We got to know we still got our good swing off on a pitch in an area that we like, and just don't miss it. But when you go through stretches, which we've gone through, and this league is just that, it's the highest level. And you're going to have guys that locate. And if they do it consistently with all the different stuff and movement, it gets to be a challenge, man, And now it's about staying mentally engaged, which our group has and will, to go compete. But it's really ultimately, long answer your question, Hazel, is just go up there, have an awareness of what you're going to see, get a ball you can take a good pass at, and take your pass at it. And then after that, we'll take our shot at it.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt earlier today inside the Padres dugout in Toronto. Sam Levitt back with you inside our San Diego studios. You heard Mike Shildt talk about some of the Padres' offensive philosophy there about getting pitches to hit, even if it comes early in the at-bat. One thing to note today about Blue Jays starting pitcher Kevin Gausman, among American League qualified starting pitchers, he ranks second in first pitch strike percentage at nearly 72%. So one thing you can expect from Gausman is that he will throw a lot of first pitch strikes. So we'll see what the philosophy is today for the Padres lineup. Will they be aggressive against the guy who throws a lot of first pitch strikes? We'll see. We'll have a full breakdown of our starting pitching matchup between Kevin Gausman and Randy Vasquez coming up in just a little bit. Let's get to some of your keys to today's game. Get to some X mentions and Instagram DMs. And actually right now we'll read some of your YouTube comments. Eric on YouTube saying, score early, score often, don't let the other team score. Eric, getting very simple there. Wesley saying keys to the game, get a hit with runners in scoring position. Wesley, you're on to something there, and we'll get more into that in our next segment. Rod saying keys to the game, number one, offense needs to look at more pitches and slow down on the first pitch swinging. Interesting. We'll see what they do against the guy in Gossman who throws a lot of first pitch strikes here today. And key number two, Rod says, give our starting pitcher some runs so that he can be clutch and complete 7 innings. Well, yesterday, Dylan Cease did go 7 innings, was really good, gave up just 3 runs, but the problem, gave up 3 hits. 2 of those hits were home runs, and again, Padres didn't score a single run, so even had Vlad Guerrero Jr. been the only guy to hit a home run yesterday, Blue Jays still would have went on to win that game. Let's tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to kick things up another notch? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not on the Padres Radio Network.
Let's begin with a look at the hot category. Luis Arraez batting .341 in his last 10 games, also in the midst of a 7-game hitting streak. Arraez has not struck out in his last 51 plate appearances, the longest active streak in the major leagues. He's also struck out just 1 time in his last 97 plate appearances. Jackson Merrill in the not category. Last 5 games for Jackson, just 2 for 23. Manny Machado now 0 for 15 in this 4-game losing streak. His slump follows a 14-game hitting streak where he batted .480 during that span. So that's baseball sometimes, right? You hit .480, nearly .500 for a couple of weeks, and now Manny 0 for his last 15. That's a look at who's hot, who's not, as we get ready for first pitch coming your way at 4:07 p.m. Now let's take you around the horn.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you around the horn. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
Some headlines from around the major leagues. George Kirby, Mariners right-hander, is expected to make his season debut for the M's on Thursday when the Mariners open a 4-game series in Houston. Kirby has been on the IL since March 24th with inflammation in his throwing shoulder. Logan Gilbert also working his way back from a flexor strain in his right forearm. So the Mariners rotation, which has a lot of big arms but has dealt with a lot of injuries so far this year, they are getting back to full health, or at least more healthy, as George Kirby again set to return on Thursday for Seattle. Pirates right-hander Jared Jones will have surgery on his right elbow and miss the remainder of the season. He's been on the IL with a UCL sprain in his right elbow. Giants have put righty Jordan Hicks in the bullpen. Hicks had a 6.55 ERA in his first 9 starts of the season. Hicks was up and down last year after signing with the Giants, and the Giants electing to transition Hicks from a reliever to a starter, but so far this year has not gone well, and the Giants have put right-hander Jordan Hicks back in the bullpen. The Dodgers' Shohei Ohtani continues to work his way back to pitching. He threw breaking pitches for the first time yesterday in a throwing session. He had been limited to fastballs and splitters in prior throwing activity. Ohtani apparently getting closer to facing live hitting for the first time since his second Tommy John procedure in September of 2023. Couple of notes on the out-of-town scoreboard today. After a win in St. Louis earlier today, the Tigers are now 33-17. It's the first time since 2006 that the Tigers have had the best record in the major leagues through 50 games. By the way, 2006, the Tigers went to the World Series that year. And Kyle Tucker homered for the second straight game to help lift the Cubs over the Marlins 2-1. Cubs winning their 3rd straight series with that win earlier this afternoon in Miami. And we'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up in our next segment. When we come back, we give you the latest on Yu Darvish, plus a couple of Padres rehabbed yesterday at AA San Antonio, our keys to the game, and much, much more to come as we bring you up towards first pitch at 4:07 north of the border in Toronto, Canada. This is the Padres Radio Network.
Hey, San Diego, it's Woodsy. My family discovered the
back to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Your water should be perfect. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. We go up to Toronto, Canada in just under 20 minutes. We'll check in with Bob Scanlon and Tony Gwyn Jr. They'll have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and then all the play-by-play. First pitch coming up in the middle game of this four-game set at 4:07 p.m. Padres trying to snap a four-game skid. Right-hander Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres. Right-hander Kevin Gossman on the mound for Toronto. Let's give you the latest on Yu Darvish and more.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit him up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
Well, nothing major to report with Yu Darvish. He pitched 4 innings for AAA El Paso last Wednesday. We did find out earlier this week he would not pitch in this series against the Blue Jays. He is not with the team in Toronto. We know that. That's been reported by Kevin Acee in the San Diego Union Tribune earlier today. But yesterday, Mike Shildt did leave the door open to Darvish potentially pitching in the Padres' next series in Atlanta. So right now it's a little unclear what the plan is going to be for Yu Darvish and when exactly he will return. And as we find out more, we will be sure to pass it along. Matt Waldron and Brian Hoeing, couple of right-handers, both pitched for AA San Antonio on rehab assignments last night. Waldron went 2 innings, gave up 3 hits, 1 earned run, struck out 2 and walked 2. He threw 47 pitches, and Brian Hoeing also threw a scoreless inning and got a strikeout at AA yesterday. So we'll see what the next steps are for Waldron and Hoeing, and that's a look at a few of the pitchers out right now and maybe on the precipice of returning very soon for the Padres. Again, first pitch coming up at 4:07. Let's give you our keys to today's game.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game. Presented by El Centro Motors Ford. Meet your new Ford General Manager, Greg Ryan, now at El Centro Motors Ford, your new Ford truck, Bronco, and SUV HQ. Call Greg directly at 619-944-0774.
Key number 1, you guessed it. Hey, offense, wake up. Padres have scored 3 runs in their last 4 games. They are a combined 0 for 24 with runners in scoring position in those 4 games. They're hitting just .212 in the last 4 games. In fact, if you take out Luis Arraez going 6 for 15 in these 4 games, the rest of the lineup is batting just .188 in that span. Padres have only hit 5 home runs in their last 8 games combined since that 21 run outburst in Colorado. And how about this? The Padres have only walked 5 times in the past 4 games. That's a walk rate of 3.6%. Now, they don't walk a ton in general, but that percentage is far lower than the nearly 9% walk rate they had before this most recent stretch. So I can go through any number I want. I can tell you whatever statistic you want to hear. Bottom line, you got to score more in general, period. Shutout yesterday, 1 run apiece Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That just ain't going to work. That's key number 1. Offense somehow, some way. You don't care how they do it. They got to get it going today. Key number 2, well, 2 guys that could make a very big difference. Manny Machado and Jackson Merrill. Padres have those guys hitting 3rd and 4th in the lineup today. They got to be more productive. Those 2 have gone a combined 2 for 30 in this 4-game losing skid, and Manny has left 9 runners on base in this 0 for 15 stretch. Again, I'm not trying to pile on here, but the numbers on the numbers right now. Key number 2, Manny and Merrill getting it going. Key number 3, don't let Santander start to get hot. Anthony Santander homered last night after going just 1 for 16 in his previous 5 games. Santander signed a 5-year, $92 million deal with the Blue Jays after hitting 44 home runs with the Orioles last season. Well, this year he's batting just .185 and on pace for 21 home runs. So don't allow Santander now to all of a sudden get hot after he was really struggling coming into this series. Had the home run yesterday. Don't let that be the start of something more. And key number 4, Randy's control. Randy Vasquez has back-to-back quality starts of 6 innings, and a big reason why his command. He's walked only one batter in each of the last 2 starts. Remember, he walked 24 in his first 7 starts of the season. That's averaging more than 3 free passes per outing. Padres need Randy to have his command today. Limit those walks once again, because when he does that, Randy can be really, really, really good. And that's a look at our keys to today's game. First pitch coming up at 4:07. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
Full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. We've got one game already completed today. In fact, we've got a couple of games. You know what? I take that back. We've got a bunch of games that are already done today. I was looking at the wrong part of the scoreboard. All right. We had a suspended game in Minnesota resumed today. Twins won it 6-5 on a walk-off double from Cody Clemens to break a 5-5 tie in the 9th inning. So the Twins win it 6-5. That was the resumption of a game from earlier this year. We have a bunch of other finals. Pirates beat the Reds 3-1. Cubs beat the Marlins 2-1 in Miami. Kyle Tucker a home run in that game for the Cubs. Rays beat the Astros 8-4 in Tampa Bay. Yandy Diaz a 3-run home run in that game for the Rays. Orioles beat the Brewers in 8-4. Adley Rutschman hit a 3-run home run in the 11th inning for the O's in that one. Tigers beat the Cardinals 5-1 in St. Louis. Mariners beat the White Sox 6-5 in Chicago. Leody Taveras a home run in that game for Seattle. Royals beat the Giants 8-4 in San Francisco. Salvador Perez a 2-run home run in that one for KC. And we also did have another game today between the Guardians and the Twins. Guardians won that one 5-1. So we had the resumption of a suspended game, and then we had the second game of that kind of doubleheader today in Minnesota. Guardians and Twins split those 2 games earlier today. We do have one postponement. Braves and the Nationals postponed due to rain in D.C. They'll make that up in September. Everything else coming up, Mets and the Red Sox at Fenway Park at 3:45. Tyler McGill on the mound for New York. Garrett Crochet on the mound for the Red Sox. Rangers and the Yankees in New York at 4:05. Ryan Yarbrough on the mound for the Yankees. Jacob deGrom on the mound for Texas. Phillies and the Rockies in Colorado at 5:40. Angels and the A's in Sacramento at 7:05. Diamondbacks and the Dodgers at 7:10 in LA. Dodgers winning it in extra innings yesterday. Corbin Burns on the mound for Arizona. Dustin May on the mound for LA. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. When we come back, we'll tell you about one Blue Jay you got to watch in this game, and also a full breakdown of our starting pitching matchup between Randy Vasquez and Kevin Gossman. First pitch coming up at 4:07 right here on the Padres Radio Network. EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. We go out to Bob Scanlon and Tony Gwyn Jr. in under 7 minutes. First pitch coming up at 4:07 in the middle game of this 3-game series. We'll take a look at our starting pitching matchup between Randy Vasquez and Kevin Gausman in just a moment. But first,
what's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For, presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovementsSD.com.
what to watch for in today's game? Can the Padres limit Vladdy Jr.? Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is batting .315 with 4 home runs and 17 runs scored during his 20-game on-base streak. It's tied with Dansby Swanson for the longest active on-base streak in the major leagues right now, and Guerrero did have a home run in yesterday's game. He's batting second, playing first base for the Blue Jays in Game 2 of this 3-game set. So what to watch for in this one? Can the Padres limit Vladimir Guerrero Jr. again in the midst of a 20-game on-base streak? Again, our starting pitching matchup, Vasquez for the Padres, Gausman for the Blue Jays. Let's dive in.
Let's take a look at who's on the bump today with our starting pitching preview on the Padres Radio Network.
26-year-old right-hander Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres today. 3-3, a 3.45 ERA, 9 starts on the year, 44 innings and a third. He struck out 23. He's walked 26. But his last start against the Angels, 6 innings, 1 earned run, 4 hits, 5 strikeouts, only walked 1. 3 starts in May so far for Randy. He's been really good at 2.12 ERA. In 17 innings, he struck out 13 and walked 7. 10 strikeouts in his last couple of outings. He had just 13 in his first 7 outings of the season. So things are trending up for Randy Vasquez. He's striking out more and walking less. Made his Padres debut last season against these Blue Jays in San Diego. 5 innings, 1 earned run given up. Did give up a home run to Dalton Varsho in that game, and Varsho is batting third for the Blue Jays here today. Splits for Randy. Lefties batting .274 against him with an .818 OPS. Righties at .205 with a .581 OPS. So lefties do hit him better than righties, significantly, something to keep in mind. Right-hander Kevin Gausman on the mound for the Blue Jays. The 34-year-old is 3-4, 4.59 ERA in 9 starts so far this season, 51 innings, 46 strikeouts, and 12 walks. But he's coming off one of his worst starts of the year, allowed a season-high 10 hits and 6 runs in 5 2/3 innings against the Rays on Thursday. This will be Gausman's first start against the Padres since 2021. A 3.35 ERA and 40-plus innings against the Padres in his career, but all those starts coming as a member of the Giants between 2020 and 2021. Now, something to keep in mind. Several key Padres hitters have good numbers against this right-hander in their careers. Fernando Tatis Jr. is 8 for 17 against Gausman with 2 home runs and a double. Manny Machado, 6 for 20 against him with 2 home runs. Xander Bogaerts, 17 for 54. He has seen him a ton. 315 batting average with a home run and a couple of doubles against Gausman. No hitter has faced Gausman more in his career than Bogaerts across the major leagues. So they know this guy. Can the Padres take advantage? That's the question here today. A look at our starting pitching matchup in Game 2 of this 3-game series. As always, thank you for listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Your water should be perfect. When we come back, we go up to Toronto, north of the border. It's Bob Scanlon. It's Tony Gwyn Jr. They have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our post-game coverage. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan, and the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, Padres fans.